Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm giving you an update on the 88 Trans Am GTA. And as you can see here, I've removed the bumper as I am repairing it, primering it, and getting it ready for paint later on this week. Now in this video, we are going to be replacing the front end steering components. As the front end on this car, the two front wheels do shake and vibrate a little bit going down the road, and that's usually due to worn out steering components. So in this video, we will be replacing the drag link, idler arm, and the inner and outer tie rods. So let's get started on that now. Now before we start removing the steering components, it is a good idea to get a distance measurement between the front and rear of your two front wheels. And to do that, set up a rig like this. You can use a level or any other kind of flat edge and place it against the tire like this. And do the same thing on the other side. Take a measurement of the front and of the rear of the tires. Now these measurements should be the same or within a 1/16 of an inch of each other. And this is a good baseline to have after you've completed the installation of the new components. You can compare and contrast between the measurements and dial it in after everything is done. Now jack up your car. And be sure to set up your jack stands. Now remove both front wheels. Now remove both your outer tie rod ends. And to do that, remove your cotter pin. And now loosen up your castle nut. Now loosen the castle nut all the way up, but keep it on, so the ball joint remover tool has something to grab onto. Now if you use this style of ball joint remover tool, be sure to lightly coat these threads here with a little bit of grease. Now crank down on the bolt. And once it pops right off, then you can loosen up this nut and lower this tie rod end. So now we're going to remove the drag link assembly from the pitman arm. So again, remove the cotter pin and then loosen up the castle nut all the way up. And now install your ball joint remover tool. And now you can remove the castle nut and let it drop down. And now we're going to remove the idler arm to frame bolts. Once those bolts are removed, we can remove the whole assembly. And now you can remove the full assembly. As you can see, these steering components here are really worn out, and it's good to replace all of these instead of just one single piece at a time. So the next step is to connect the idler arm to the drag link. Now I do want to mention that the idler arm mounts to the longer side here. The distance between this hole and the stud should be longer than the distance between that hole and that stud. So this is my longer side, and I'm going to install the idler arm. So make sure you put on your rubber washer, slide on the idler arm, and install your castle nut. And then tighten it down. Install your new cotter pin. And now we can install the assembly onto the car. Now install the drag link assembly onto the pitman arm first. And don't forget the cotter pin. Now install your idler arm to the frame bolts. Now keep the idler arm a little loose because it will need some adjustment. Now it is very important to set the correct height of the center link. And to do that, you'll measure the distance between this control arm bolt here and the flat surface that's on the center link itself. The center link will have two flat surfaces, one on each side right underneath this hole here. And to take the measurement, what you'll do is you'll install a socket onto this control arm bolt here, and then place a flat edge on your center link flat surface, just like that. Then you'll take a measurement between the socket and that flat edge. And now for me, the measurement is about 1/16 of an inch. You'll want to take this measurement on both sides of the center link. The measurement has to be identical to each other. If it's not, what you'll do is you'll raise and lower the idler arm until the measurements are exactly the same. Once they are the same, then tighten down that idler arm. And in my situation, the measurement is the same, so I've already tightened down my idler arm. Now for the tie rod ends, you'll have to reuse the original adjuster sleeve and clamps. But before you remove it, take a full length measurement here of the original tie rod, as you will be setting the new tie rod to the exact same length. So measure from the center point of this ball joint here to the center point here. Now this is the passenger side tie rod, and mine measures at about 17.5 inches. So I'll set the new tie rod at 17.5 inches as well. So let's get started on that next. Now to remove the adjuster sleeve, loosen up these two clamps. Next, spin the old tie rod out. And then spin off the adjuster from the other tie rod end. Now I do want to point out to make sure that you install your Zerk fittings. Some of the parts will come with it, some of them will not. They'll be included and you'll have to install them yourself. Also, be sure that these are pre-greased. If they're not, install your Zerk fitting and then grease them. Now luckily all of mine from Moog were already pre-greased, so all I had to do was install the fitting and now I can install them on the vehicle. Now I have my adjuster sleeve nice and clean, but before I install them, it is recommended that you grease these threads very lightly. Make sure you do it on both the inner and outer tie rods. And now screw on your adjuster. Now I have my passenger side set to 17.5, just like the original. We're ready to go install it. But it's very important to keep the adjuster sleeve loose, so when you do put it on the car, you can set the adjuster sleeve in the correct location. So let's go put it on the car now. Now install your tie rod onto the drag link. Tighten it down. And install your cotter pin. Now install the tie rod onto the knuckle. And tighten it down. And install your cotter pin. Now repeat the process for the driver's side. For my driver's side, it was about 17 inches in length, so I replicated that length here with the brand new one. And also keep in mind that you want the same amount of threads on each side of the adjuster. So make sure each side of the adjuster has the same amount of threads. I have about 3/4 of an inch here and 3/4 of an inch here. Now let's go install it on the vehicle. Now tighten the driver's side tie rod. Once your tie rods are secure, make sure your adjuster clamps are facing forward and tighten them down. And now you can install your wheels. Remove your jack stands and lower your car. Alright guys, everything went in there pretty smoothly and all of the measurements seem to be pretty close. Now it is recommended to get an alignment after a job like this, just because you don't want any uneven wear on those tires. But if this video helped you guys, give me a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.